Welcome. Happy Monday, you guys. This is the weekly Monday stream. We just recap the stuff over the weekend, what to look for this week with Bridge3 Labs and Elite Wealth Strategies. How's your weekend, guys?
It's been good. It's been a good weekend.
Yes, very good. Falls upon us though. Otherwise, great weekend.
Right?
Definitely
It's
same.
surprisingly cold this weekend.
Yeah,
It's still pretty hot out here right now in Chicago area. It's like 85 this weekend.
All the heat, you're stealing all the heat.
Take it
Rogues,
back.
you're way up north, ain't you?
I'm not way up north per se. I'm only an hour from the border, which I think like 85% of Canadians are like an hour from the border kind of thing. So I'm close to the border, and we are actually surprisingly a very hot city/town when it's summertime. So we are not as Canadian as most Canadian places. So
That's
we
fair.
still get good winter, but I mean, less than, maybe less than Chicago. Maybe. Probably, actually.
It's pretty rough out here sometimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably it's
it could be
rough. It's rough.
Florida is pretty much warm all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
Yeah, Florida and LA have like the best weather in the country. Best weather in the world, one could say.
Yep. Definitely,
Yeah.
bro. It's been nice.
Other than fire and smokes and the hurricanes, those are the situations.
Yeah.
And the influencers. Don't forget about the influencers.
It's fair. It's Miami.
So how does the Canadian influencer get the Trump interview?
Because
ask me that.
That's funny,
right?
They've
the
had
French
Trump
Canadian of all Canadians, right?
They've had Trump on his podcast, like on their podcast over 2 times now. Actually, I think.
Oh, really?
They've definitely ran one podcast with them. They had RFK on the other week too.
Are you talking about the world's financial one?
No, I think he's talking about the Nelk Boy guy, Kyle Forjard.
No, I'm talking about Rug Radio and Farouk.
Yeah, the world, that's for World Financial Coin or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just a big crypto space hoster, right? So whoever can get the most people.
Yep.
To check them
out.
out.
Get like Leap or something. But
right.
Yeah, you wanna talk about the slides? What happened over the weekend? You probably got some football plays hopefully in here as well.
I mean, I do have some football plays. Some things happened in the NFL over the weekend. A lot of things. But first off, Bitcoin macro in a bit of a chop here. We got what looked to be a bit of a rally, few day rally. I think last time we ran this, we were all kind of thinking maybe some downside, and it rallied a bit. However, I think we're being redeemed coming into this week. ETFs, really strong flows Friday overall. That might have led to some of the positive energy towards Bitcoin, but looking good there. Rate increase coming Wednesday. It's leaning 50 at this point. It had been 50 strong for a bit, back to 25. It really, I mean, if there was a poly market play that if you had you wanted to swing in there, the rate change definitely has had some pretty volatile swings, but it is now leaning a little bit towards 50. I think 50 is one that we probably don't want, at least risk of having some more volatility. NFTs really have been the story over the last week or so. Last 7 days. They've really come on with a lot of notable things going on. Solana actually leads the way for volume. That's led by DGods. DGods are NFTs, but they're 404 meme tokens. Kind of an interesting concept all the way around. Any which way you want to look at it, you can find a positive and a negative to it. There can be some really quality arguments on either side of it. I think the fact that there is quality arguments on either side of it makes it quite interesting, makes it worth paying attention to, and makes it probably an interesting play as well. So that kind of took the storm and overshadowed what I think was even bigger news. And that's anime.com from Zuki. So Zuki, as we kind of been hinting towards them for a while, what's happening, what's going to go on. Well, they acquired anime.com, which is a really big piece of web real estate, if you will. And so they are moving all forward with their anime plans, and kind of an interesting whole concept around there that we'll continue to discover around anime token, all that kind of stuff. Doodles, the Toronto International Film Festival premiere, that whole video, etc. I managed to watch it, paid the $5 to do so. Enjoyed it, thought it was good. I was surprised by it. In fact, it was a good story. I have been really enjoying the music and the music videos that have come out more so, though. However, I really like the one where you can't get these. I don't even know the first one with Kid Leroy that came out. I thought that one was I'm just hooked on that one. But overall, the Doodles have been progressing through their story, and more's going on. Clanosaurus as well, jumping into the gaming side of things with a big partnership. So NFTs have been a buzz, and I'm sure I've missed other things that have happened. Meme coins, quieter. DGod, one of the more notable meme coins, essentially. But not a lot of movements on the positive side. We had a surge, and then therefore a sell-off thereafter on Nero. That was, I think, due to the was it Binance listing, or they got a recent listing, and so that led to them surging and then retracing. But overall, good for them. I got a capital D there on World Liberty Financial, but the Trump crypto, all that kind of stuff that's going on later in about 50 minutes. So it's nice that we have this one here at 4, leading into the Farouk and the Trump and everything that's got going on there. I'm still bewildered by that. I still don't believe that is actually a reality about to happen. It just seems like too much potential risk going into an election, but Trump isn't afraid of anything. And then last bit, prediction markets, popular vote, Danksy's second favorite, it's up 10% since we last looked at it, and so it's about 71% or 75%. Sorry, I think it is. Still a bit of a nice arbitrage. However, there's also that Nate Silver who lowered his odds of Trump winning from 65 down to 60, which is substantially higher than the 50% currently on Polymarket. So also an interesting arbitrage aside from NFL, which we will probably dig into eventually as well. So that's kind of the summary of everything that's happened in the week. Lots, crypto a little quieter. NFTs taking storm in the narrative. They're kind of leaning a little bit more positive, a little bit more energy towards NFTs than we're seeing on the meme coins. So I think that's great for the cycle. A lot of bullish energy towards NFTs. Great to see. I think it's going to still be a slow climb up, but overall, a real good positive. I'm going to pause. Thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I mean, I know that we normally start with the macro large caps first, but the meme coin situation, I mean, Nero, the one I was trading before, and I got out of my position a while back, but the Nero that was at that hit like 250 mil market cap is now down horrendous because of Binance's listing of the other Nero. And that just exploded yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw the chart, but it went from like 15 to 20 mil to like 100, 200 mil at this point.
So there's multiple Neros, and that's why the one Nero has crashed, but then bumped, and then it crashed again is probably because it's okay. Let me get this up here.
So they basically listed some micro cap Nero, and then the big Nero dumps.
Yeah.
That's the story. It's on ETH.
Then you said Binance listed the other one?
Yeah, so the pump on Nero and the meme coins were all from Binance listings.
Okay.
It's the top one right now, most likely.
Yeah, it would be the top on volume.
No, it's NEI. And
That'll
it's
do it.
the number 3. Yeah, I think it might be this. No, second one, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I also look at the liquidity when I add them, but yeah, this one looks like the
So like if you zoom out to daily,
wow.
like it's
Holy
like
crap.
no one has touched this coin, and then they listed this coin instead of the other one. So I don't
Wow.
know, man.
That's
That is
wild.
wild.
Right?
And so if we go and we look at the other Nero,
So this one's down horrendous because this
Yep.
one didn't get listed.
so you can see here, there's that pop dump. So, pop probably on the listing news and then realizing that it's not the one that was listed and it's just now
Yeah. So this
tanked.
one was doing well like last week when we
Yeah.
looked at it.
Yeah.
It was like
Wow.
kind of like revived or wave up, and then they just got destroyed. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It's death of a Nero for Nero. That is crazy. But yeah, 815%. Now this all makes sense.
Right.
That is
So
crazy.
this is part of the 3 tokens that were listed on Binance, basically.
Yeah.
And they've all got pretty good. So whoever's doing the Binance listing has the real alpha.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully they didn't buy any before it was listed.
Yeah, right. That'd be funny. Yeah, I seen other news too on kind of just covering I guess the whole basics. I seen MicroStrategy was trying to raise another 700 million to pay off some debt and buy some more Bitcoin.
And they did buy some Bitcoin as well. A decent amount. There is a chart for their holdings. I don't have that chart bookmarked. But they are up now to
I think they own
it's
1%.
like
I think.
1.7%. Like they're up to like 220,000 plus
200
Bitcoin.
Yeah, 244,800. That's wild, bro.
I think maybe this is. I can kind of see it in here. So there's that additional spike here that's happened.
Yeah.
On Friday. So they bought an additional 20,000 Bitcoin, and I think they still got some more funds to spend to buy more Bitcoin. So that'll continue a nice proxy play to Bitcoin itself in buying the MicroStrategy stock. MicroStrategy stock has formed pretty well a chart that looks very familiar in terms of the pattern, aligning quite similarly to Bitcoin. So overall, doing not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing he mentioned was, adding Bitcoin to your balance sheet. And I think, he opened my eyes when he even brought about countries too, right? If you ban Bitcoin or you don't want to hold Bitcoin, if you're a slow stock and you don't see much volatility, not many people are going to want to trade that. Volatility brings traders, investors, people who want to make money. And, he's like, people come in because they see, we have a volatile stock because we hold Bitcoin. And, same thing with countries. He says, if you ban Bitcoin in your country, you're pretty much saying, hey, we don't want you here. And the investors are going to bring their Bitcoin miners and everything else to a different place where they're incentivized, places that, zero tax on Bitcoin and, all the other benefits, I'm sure. But, he makes a good point when he brings some stuff like that up, and you kind of see people start to flock to those places, or even in this case, companies.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting hedge in a way to store a bit of wealth for the business. I'm sure it will continue to be adopted as Bitcoin sustains. I think there's still some hesitancy towards Bitcoin's stability and tossing a large amount of reserves or even any reserves into an asset that can be volatile and be down substantially. The board isn't necessarily going to roll with it, but more and more businesses are doing so. And overall, I think it provides some interest. I never thought of the volatility aspect of it as being kind of an additional level of interest in your stock. Obviously, MicroStrategy kind of almost lives as a Bitcoin holdings company, as their core business isn't necessarily as strong or strong. I've used their products in the past and haven't found them as useful or as intuitive as some of the solutions that are now out there. Salesforce, Tableau, Power BI, that sort of thing. So, yeah, but they're performing well. Like I said, a bit of a hedge to or a little kind of another way of playing it instead of the ETS is investing into MicroStrategy and going with that as well.
Yeah, I would push back on the fact of MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin is a good business case. Obviously, they've positioned themselves to be like a Bitcoin ETF of sorts, but it kind of diminishes their core strategy and core strength, right? You don't think about MicroStrategy being a data analytics software tool. They're kind of like a play on Bitcoin, right? And then at that point, why not just buy the ETF itself, or why not just buy Bitcoin itself? Why are you letting them take the fees on holding Bitcoin and getting market capitalization? Who knows what they're going to do with funds in the next year, right? When you can hold yourself.
I think it also gives those people too, like, say you work for Fidelity and you can't hold crypto, you can buy MicroStrategy stock, which is in a way, the hedge against not being able to hold crypto directly.
It's
I
a playbook.
I see it valuable for them.
Yeah, it's a playbook you're not going to likely see from any other companies in the terms of the 80-90% Bitcoin holdings versus core business in the terms of like true value. But you could certainly see some other companies storing some excess capital into Bitcoin versus other type of
I'm
investments,
interested to
etc.
see how it works in like a long-term run too. I know MicroStrategy's only done it for so long, so I want to see how it works in a 5 to 10 year span.
Awesome. Looking at Bitcoin itself, back in our range. It's struggled to push higher. It struggled to get above this 64.5 range to kind of create a new higher high, and now we're pushing back down. It certainly could get some serious volatility in a couple days on the Wednesday. My gut would suggest that it is likely to sell off on the news of a 50 basis points cut, as that would kind of signify some deeper concerns about the U.S. economy. 25 basis points might produce a bit of a rally, although many would suggest that it's already priced in as kind of being that, and then it's just kind of continuation as normal based on trend or where the direction it's currently going. What is everyone's thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's still in the trend here, Bitcoin. I mean, we're still waiting on that bigger move. Nothing too out of the ordinary for Bitcoin. Seeing that it hasn't even hit the next like 6450 mark or 64,500 mark might be a little bit concerning, but we're still haven't made a big move since March, so nothing to worry about here. On the interest rate or the announcement this week, I still think it's 25% down or 25 basis points down. I'd be very surprised it was 50. I don't know really why people are thinking it's 50. They've never been that they've never had that surprise of announcement, so I'm not sure.
No, yeah, Powell's too like consistent, too like fixated on his kind of plan. That I too agree that a 50 basis points doesn't seem super realistic. Polymarket seems to, and I think there's another one. There's another website out there, but Fed rates or whatever, both seem to think that there's a pretty substantial chance. In fact, a greater chance of 50 than there is of 25. So I don't know if there's a bit of leading information, especially only a couple of days out. But I the way he's kind of progressed and kind of this slow, methodical approach to everything, I tend to believe that it's 25, 25, 25, for a few months in a row and corrective measures that way than something as jolting as a 50 basis points, which would, signify that we're not getting that soft landing that is, so desperately trying to achieve. So I tend to agree with you there, Danksy. And maybe an interesting market move.
I'm taking a look at it later.
Exactly, right. If 50 continues to garner some momentum. I know there's been times where you could get 25 at, I think it was down as low as like 30% odds there for a brief period of time. And then it's spiked up, et cetera. So it's definitely been a volatile one, and it will probably result in some volatility if it's not 25 basis points. If it is, then, we're probably still hanging out in this range.
Yeah,
Tyler,
you just never known for surprises.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Forex Factory has it like a prediction of 25 basis points as well. I'm interested to see what happens. I think either way, I think we're still in a pretty wide zone. That really until we break out of there chart wise, I'm not interested in really either direction, to be honest with you. Until we break below either 52, like 52 150 level roughly, or break above like 64 500, or what is that, 63? We'll call it 64 500. Until we break above or below those levels, I'm kind of just, as far as a chart or market goes, like I'm not really interested in either direction. But I think the news of it could push us. We could see a little more reaction from it. I think I was expecting a bigger reaction from the debate. I thought we were going to see a little bit more reaction from the market, maybe in either direction. But I think we're a little still and slow, but I'm not sure. So I honestly, I think we're going to kind of either bounce off of, let me pull the chart back up. I think we're going to probably bounce back off of that 56,306 level. We're going to test there. And if anything, we're going to break back down to that 150 level. But I think we're going to hold personally 56,306. But I think we're definitely coming back there roughly just a touch for a minute.
Yeah, especially since once we hit that 60K range, we didn't go much higher. That was kind of what we were all talking about last week. Like, if I remember correctly, like, hey, if we can, get above that 60K and hold, things could be looking pretty decent. But yeah, it's looks like we could be seeing, a smaller retracement again down to that, like Tyler was saying, around that 52 level. If we go any lower, then, we'll see from there. But yeah, I think we could definitely see back down in the 52 range.
Yeah, and I'm also curious too, like where they're getting that report of the 50 basis points over the 25. Like where does those prediction numbers come from? The forecasted numbers.
Just throwing them out there.
Yeah, it's like a speculation thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's listening around, and you get that kind of people piling on particular thoughts and beliefs too on that as well. So
yeah, but it's interesting to think about. I think even actually looking at something like Polymarket, where you could see people, what more people believe. I don't know. Maybe that gives you a better indicator than believing what maybe like a Forex Factory reports. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd be interested to see how the pattern plays.
So I want to pivot a bit here, still within Bitcoin. But one thing that I know, and we've looked at this quite a bit, but I was able to. I always look at it on mobile, but on desktop, 2 recommendations for anyone out there listening. But click to symbol, right? So it's defaulted to pair, which is the Binance pair. Click to symbol. That'll give you all of BTC, right? And then you can go zoom out a month, 3 months, etc. Whatever works. But you can also click into Ethereum as well, Solana as well, which allows you to see those same kind of liquidation levels on them, right? So Ethereum 2616, kind of the liquidity on the upside. Downside, not much lower than where we're currently at. Where we're currently at is kind of on the 200 weeklies, so a very important level for Ethereum. But yeah, Bitcoin on the symbol, you kind of get a really clear look of everything. And right now, if we're looking on the downside, this 55K range is probably the big kind of magnet. And then, maybe down to the 53.1. Not a lot much down below the 52 actually, but 53 is kind of the other range there. On the downside, upside 63, and of course 70K with massive amounts of short interest there. So so that was the one bit that I thought was really interesting on the liquidation side of it. And then back to TradingView, something else that's kind of cool is
we were looking about this on Friday as well. I and myself, pretty good chart, pretty good tool, the liquidation mode.
Yeah, it's super good, right? And then the other one that I thought was really interesting, and I never knew that this existed, but you can add a spaghetti chart directly to TradingView in kind of the oscillator pane at the bottom. And so when you go in there, you have that ability to choose the symbols that you want, as many as you want, I think up to 20. And the cool thing about this is if you change your range, it will adjust these right from that starting point. And so then you can kind of compare your favorite batch of cryptos, even regular stocks, etc., in that percentage change range to see where particular ones are performing, outperforming, and how that looks in general, right? And then if you're to select on it here, I'm curious to see, because this doesn't. I want to know. Actually, yeah, it shows me actually right here on this section. So Arbitrum performing the worst overall. And then you can kind of see where the majors are. ETH down 26% within this range, comparatively to something like Solana down 11%, Bitcoin down 4%, and then Aave leading the way along with Kaspa on the top side of things. So depending on whatever ranges you're kind of expanded out to, etc. So it's a really cool way to look at it. Obviously, there's a lot going on when I have so many. I think I have about 13 of them on here at the moment, which makes things a little bit chaotic. But I think it's a really great way to compare how things are performing against each other, because it's the outperformers that at the end of the day are really where you want to be in, instead of just being in on certain things. And you can also kind of compare where alts are performing versus majors. And of course, Bitcoin is outperformed on a whole versus most things. I think mostly due to the ETH pair really fading hard. But overall, I think it's really, really cool way to look at things. And that's called, like, if you just type in spaghetti on the indicator, you'll get it. And then I went ahead and
sweet, bro.
Reselected my particular ones that I wanted to see. But yeah, you could overlay, something like the NASDAQ on there as well, and a few other elements, so you can kind of see how crypto's comparing versus or some of the other ones. So there's definitely a lot of ways of doing it. And in fact, you probably could, I think you could probably get in a few versions of it. I'm not sure. I'm not super professional, or not like expert level in the terms of TradingView, but I thought this is an excellent way of doing it, because spaghetti charts themselves are not easy to produce. And so I literally Googled a spaghetti chart thinking I'd go to some other website that produces the spaghetti charts for me, but one of the results had TradingView, and I was like, whoa, right? So I think this is super useful in the terms of being able to analyze and look at things.
Yeah, bro. The hard part's spelling spaghetti.
Right? Yeah. Spaghetti by Rainbow Labs.
There we
is the
go.
one
Yeah,
that
that's
I'm
pretty cool. I've
using.
never seen that before.
Yeah, super easy. And then it's down in the oscillator pane. So you can go in there, put it there. You can hide it so it's out of the way. I think I haven't tried it, but you can also save as default in your editor there. So once it's saved as default, you should be able to remove it and re-add it without any risk. I'm going to try for the purpose of this. So now if I go ahead and re-add it, let's see if I'm lucky enough. Yeah, looks like we got all the same ones. So it has saved the settings that I have in there. So you can remove it. That way it's not taking up that little extra bit of valuable real estate, even when it's not there. So I thought that was a pro tip, excellent way of doing things and something to play around with to kind of get the best views on there. I don't know if we can do multiple versions of it on the indicator or not. That would be the next kind of degree level where you could have one that's just crypto versus alts or crypto versus Magnificent Seven or the index, etc. Like that's where you're going to start to see, or some really interesting ones, crypto versus gold, all that kind of stuff. There's so much different ways of looking at things, and I think the spaghetti chart is one really excellent way to normalize it all. Of course, you can stack charts and look at them that way, and all kinds of crazy stuff you can do, and I've seen others do. By no way am I there, but the spaghetti chart, it just simplifies it so much that it makes it super easy to look at and normalize.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna have to check it out and play with it a little bit.
And then I mentioned Ethereum. Ethereum, where that gets kind of interesting here is that it is at a level that it typically bounces off of, and we've seen some dips in the past on the weekly here, but historically the 200 weekly has been a pretty good level of support. We're right up against that at the moment. Does that mean Ethereum bounces? And if Bitcoin looks like it's going down, is it going to be able to bounce in comparison to Bitcoin? I think this is a really crazy level here, and it's providing support, but like, to me, I think there's a greater risk of losing that. And where do we go from there on Ethereum? 1800 potentially, something like that. Where are we thinking on Ethereum? Which I think I mentioned last week where I thought Ethereum provided a little downside risk, given the fact that it had some good support levels there, and it's just really gravitated towards those support levels and potentially losing them.
Yeah, it is looking pretty weak right now, especially on the weekly. If we can't hold above that like 2154 level, like I guess 2150, I could agree with that 1800 range, like 19 to 1800 for sure. If we can't hold here.
Yeah, and it looks like on a daily, the last low for a candle body, you're looking at like about 2200. I want to see us hold above the candle body there. But I personally, I'm with you, Rotes. I think we're gonna probably see some more pressure on the downside, and then as far as liquidations go too, I mean, we could maybe see, some type of snowball effect where, a lot of those liquidation levels that we were looking at too are around that 2K level. So if we see those get hit and we continue down, and maybe that 1800 level we hold, but we're getting down in those, what I would call the last levels of support, which I have is 18 to 1800 to 2K level is those are like the last two levels I would like to see us hold before we really start moving down. But I think we'll hold one of them. It's just hard to say which.
Yeah, I mean, really, ETH is not looking hot this cycle, but I think ETH benefits a lot from institutional and non-meme related building, especially on chain. It's here with Coinbase. A lot of BlackRock are building on ETH, so we'll see those be announced, and you'll probably get some more catalysts for ETH in the future.
A lot of the strength in the meme coins, as we mentioned in the past, still exists with Ethereum-based meme coins. So there still is a decent amount of utility on the small end side of things for just ETH in general too as well. Pivot into NFTs.
Yeah, let's do
Actually,
Yeah, you
really
wanna-
quick, I want to bring up the US dollar index chart is kind of at a key level, like a key support level as well. Could be up to the rate cuts tomorrow, kind of determining if we could holding $100 decent, but typically when on the bigger time frames when that's going up, crypto's going down and vice versa.
Yeah.
So if it looks like we could potentially be seeing more down to $99 or 99 plus even lower potentially. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out through the week as well. See if we hold here at these levels.
Yeah, a loss of 99 would be pretty strong overall for crypto, right? 99's that last bit of support here, at least for a long period of time, at least on the daily. So
back in July when it hit that low at 99, that's when crypto was closer to it was up there for sure. In July we were at, for Bitcoin, I guess we were at like 60K level, depending on where you're looking at in July. Went back up to 67K late July. So
yeah, and the money supply will also kind of play into it if the rate cuts and et cetera are pushing that a bit too, right?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be watching that a little bit this week for sure.
It's right at that level for sure, at that 100 and losing that 199. This range here would be pretty significant. Good call.
Yeah, I actually just pulled that up when we hopped on this call. I'm like, ooh, it's been a minute since I've looked at this.
Yeah, and it would suggest that it's looking at additional sell-off here, so, or at least an additional decline, based on the trend, et cetera here. So
yeah, but yeah, let's go ahead and jump over to NFTs then.
Sure. One thing I found really interesting as I was kind of going through updating this for the NFT index is that not Blur, but Magic Eden is definitely not getting volume. Still a lot of transactions happening for NFTs. I mean, unless a project is completely blocked towards every other platform, and then you'll see them still trading actually quite healthy. Quirkies comes to mind in that respect, that they will still get the volume, et cetera, that they need. But overall, Blur, leads the way in terms of general NFT volume. OpenSea leads the way in terms of transactions, and then Magic Eden is quite quiet overall for NFTs, even though it's the site that I'm sure all of us go to look at NFTs, look at price action, all that kind of stuff. It's a far superior platform in all those respects, but not the go-to place at the moment for trades.
I know they were making some like promises and stuff, like the diamonds. Have you guys heard anything about those diamonds that they've done yet?
Haven't yet. Still waiting to see how that all kind of plays out. I think
and I know
optimistic.
like Quirky specifically kind of they're only on Magic Eden right now, I believe. So like there's been questions like, hey, if we go back on or like, are we missing out on holders and stuff not being on Blur and OpenSea? Blur can be a little bit sketchy just because like the loans and stuff, they get someone defaults, it could look rough on the people could see that and fear and start selling theirs, like things like that. But I'm glad they're off of Blur. But
yeah, I don't know if they're missing out in any respect. I mean, unless they're getting to the front page, and that's going to be a volume thing. I guess there's some degree of trending, etc.
Yeah.
But anyone that's using those kind of metrics aren't likely to be new to the NFT space.
For sure.
And so I don't know if there's any miss out in that respect. It's really, the volume happens where the listings are, and the listings happen to be where the volume is. And it's just like cat and mouse, chicken and the egg kind of scenario that, if wherever the people are, wherever the activity has been, it'll kind of continue to be. And that's what, worked in Blur's favor, at least to great capture market share, is that everyone moved over there because of incentives, and now they're kind of stuck there because that's where all the the listings are and people are. So there's that kind of element that is there, and
Yeah.
the activity, the incentives that Magic Eden's put forth hasn't necessarily resulted in people flocking there, unless some of that kind of tokenomics or wherever the reward system is starts to kind of unveil more, and then people realize, hey, there's actually some serious incentive to being over on Magic Eden.
Yeah, what's that drop off? If you go up, what's that drop off on like July? Probably like July 1st. There's a huge drop off, right?
For Magic Eden, right?
Eden, yeah, then Magic Eden, or in everything, right? But Magic Eden specifically, where it seems like there's just nothing.
Yeah.
If you go the day before.
I would actually July 5th, so right after the July 4th weekend. The July 4th weekend was a pretty harsh time for crypto in general. I think July 4th was the first initial major kind of capitulation event for Bitcoin. So I don't know if that plays into it a bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that Magic Eden had volume and then just vanished almost at that point, that stands out as a really good call out.
Is this only Ethereum NFTs?
This is, yes, only Ethereum, right?
So you're not
Magic Eden is definitely, Ordinals, Solana, they're leading the way on there. OKX and a few others kind of also play into some of those, but it's all kind of.
Yeah, 4th of July weekend was when Bitcoin went back into like the 50K. Well, never mind, I lie. It went back down to 53 though on 4th of July weekend. So that's, like you said, it was pretty rough for all of crypto that time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I used to really like OpenSea. And when everybody started switching to Magic Eden, I was like, I got to learn a new platform. But once I started to learn Magic Eden and start getting used to it, I started to like it more than, Blur and OpenSea. For ease of use and all of the blockchains they have on there. So
how optimistic are you about the gems or the diamonds?
I'm not hoping to be a millionaire from them or anything.
These, if you don't put any effort and they're just giving it out for everyone, there's like, it's not like the first Blur airdrop, right? Where people didn't know. This one, you might get like $1,000, a couple $1,000, probably like $100 or like a couple $100, and then it'll be a nice.
That'd be nice,
bro. If they even had a
I'm
reward
not even
shop.
expecting that. I'm expecting really zero.
They had a reward shop, bro, where I could utilize the gems for like a.
Let me buy an NFT with gems.
Yeah.
No, I think I only have like 1 or 2K, so I don't expect much from them. But it'd be interesting to see if they can take some market share back.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I mean, if that was just only reporting ETH, then yeah, definitely. Yeah, it looks like, I think on other fronts they're probably got a little bit more volume, but who knows, bro? I mean, it's hard to say. I don't have any reliable.
I'm not really sure either.
Yeah, I mean, looking at NFT Go, which for a period of time there was one of the strongest analytics platforms out there for NFTs in general. At least on the Ethereum side of things, you can see that similar drop over that July 4th kind of activity there. So this is July 2nd to July 6th, and then you can see that kind of drop. They group it by I think every 3 days here once you expand it out, so it gets a little trickier. But I think this one on the daily, similar idea. Where is it? July 4th, and you can kind of see there that volume is higher just before that range. So it kind of provides a bit of confluence in the sense of like at least Dune is producing all the data. That sometimes can be a bit of an issue when you get these sources out there. Is that I might be thinking I'm getting all the data, but it's not, and it's excluding something, etc. So that's why it's nice to be able to check. But it looks like everything is there because that's such a crazy cut right there on that date, and like it's mostly due to Magic Eden, and then down, and then across you go. So I don't know, maybe Blur
What's
made
that
some
drop
kind of
if you look at transactions, like the number? Go back to the day before.
So 4.6 down to 2.9.
No, I mean for Magic Eden specifically.
Oh, Magic Eden, 600
to
95.
Yeah,
but that could be also a degree of some wash trading. There was some wash trading that was happening on Magic Eden. So some collections like that. So it's always tough, and like the wash trading filter, unless you're doing it by a collection basis and like right into the weeds of it, trying to do the whole calculation and wash trading side of things, which NFT Go does do, and it's on their premium side of things, is hard. Or like you'll see that collection, you can exclude it from the data, and then it cleans it up. And I know Dune has a wash trading table in there that aims to filter some of that stuff out, but I don't know how in tune everyone is, the Hilda boys, etc., that do all the Dune dashboards, whether or not that's actively updated on a regular basis. But what I wanted to bring up here is kind of this super positive trend that we've now entered, where like you go back to March and we just was in this consistent downtrend all the way through until like a bottoming on August 5th. And then we've now been in this trend upwards pretty steadily here over the last little range. And, maybe not at our recent highs of back in August 24th, but still continuing to progress up. This is a collection of NFTs that I think are, both generating volume and then also considered among the top end of NFTs. And so I grabbed those in this index and have kind of reshuffled the deck on what kind of makes sense. And that's what I've got here over the last week. Obviously, DGOD's up 30%. Utes, I think, are up 60%, not included in this bucket. They also trade a lot on Solana, and now they're going to trade in the tokens, etc. So they're all over the place for them. But also, you see Azuki, Beans, etc. up, Mutants up. So
Azuki's really had a really good week.
Yeah, a really strong week across the board for the majority of collections here, and only a few on the downside, mostly because they already surged beforehand. I know that's the case with Chimpers. I think so with Cryptodes as well, where they have surged a week before, and now they're giving some of that back. You can see them here, both up, and then only one collection down over that range, and that's My Pet Hooligan. On the gaming side of things, high volume, so they're in this basket, but I wouldn't necessarily have them in here otherwise. But just one of the kind of long-standing collections that is still generating some pretty good volume. But leading the way, Chimpers, Creeps on the monthly. So NFTs overall, a lot of strength. And the projects that are continuing to roll out their developments, etc., that have this kind of sustainable business community IP going for them. And it's excellent to see, because there was just like lull, and like the vibes were kind of gone, and it felt like no matter what was done, no one really believed in it. I think those have been washed out, and those that are still here are definitely either forgotten and just holding, or they're very much bought into their collections that they hold, etc. And things are looking good overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's been a good month. Been a really good 2 months, I guess, if you count last month. Yeah, things are looking pretty positive for NFTs. Around like sentiment's very high. It seems like everybody's getting excited again, and obviously the money's starting to flow back in a little bit. I guess not compared to what it was in March, but I think we'll start to make our way back there.
Yeah, and the
Let's
fact
not
that volumes
No,
down
go ahead, Rick.
isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? We've seen that less volume, especially with Blur and Blur farming, etc. Less volume has actually been a real positive for the market in general, because you're not necessarily getting a lot of people acquiring NFTs on the pure speculation side of things, and therefore dumping at any instance they can, which causes a lot of havoc to the floor price.
And the hard part sometimes if there's any dead wallets that come back alive, just dump everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see that happen super often, especially with the bigger projects.
No, not really. No, I totally agree. We can take a deeper look, and we'll transition to meme coins as well here with
Sure.
the DGod stuff. Boost in floor price relatively. What's the situation, right? I mean, I knew they had a big pump yesterday, and now it's kind of flattened out. What's your read on that, you guys? That's kind of the biggest story of the week right now, besides the pump thing in like 10 minutes.
I mean, I think the Azuki news is bigger on the grand scheme of things. And I think that the Doodles event, even though it's not news, that whole situation I think is also bigger. I think what we've seen in the past with DGods and Utes and Frank is that it's this like splash of just like shoot from the hip kind of attention grabbing, almost feels like all the time. And they moved to Telegram, and I thought, oh, that's not great, but that seemed to really drive a lot of energy and positivity and at least something going for them. And quite frankly, at that time, I thought that they were already moving to the meme coin route, so this doesn't come as a total surprise. What I think is interesting about this, when you break it down a bit more, and at least to my understanding, is that when you're exchanging your Utes, I think actually get burned, but the exchanging your DGod, the DGod itself goes into the pool, the 404 pool, and can actually be reclaimed by anyone that has the DGod token, and they can reclaim it out for I think the 550K token and get that DGod back out. So it's not necessarily removing the NFT aspect of it. So I still think that's a bit of a positive, but the volatility in meme coins, etc. It just seems like a crazy path to go down, and I always feel like it's just like this attention grabbing kind of like, we're just gonna do this thing because it's cool, and I don't necessarily like it, but I can see the positivity of it. I can see that the price itself it provides a lot more liquidity, and the price itself can be volatile. But if it goes up, then you have that opportunity to cash in, exit, allows more people to get in. I've rambled a bunch. I'm going to pause for other thoughts. That's my general take.
Yeah, I mean, the liquidity is there now, right? You can sell out at any time, right? You don't need a specific buyer. I mean, you do have the offer mechanism, but you just locked yourself into the meme coin game, right? So you're in the meme coin chart. Although NFTs were kind of trading in that chart already, it's more there is a minute by minute trade possibility now.
Yeah.
Is that the current? Can you pull up the DGods on Dex Screener?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Looks like they also just did a merge drop yesterday.
Yeah, pretty basic merch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I agree. I don't know. I've never really paid attention to DGods too much. I know it got pretty quiet for them for a while, and that's kind of when I stopped paying attention. I've never held one, but Really, any holder I've come across on Twitter seems pretty cool, pretty nice, genuine people from what I know. So they have that going for them too. Or X, I meant.
Yeah, I always thought of them as like the kind of the creator kind of group where they're out there involved in content creation and etc. And overall, I thought that, you know, as far as community building, etc., went, they were among the best. As far as art went along, among the best. But because they've never had a vision or direction, the appreciation hasn't always followed. Now, you know, DGods have been, you know, pretty valuable up in that, you know, 10 ETH plus range kind of thing. But I think, you know, it's always been this like hard to define, like no clear vision sort of thing. That's been interesting, to say the least. They peaked yesterday at 100 mil market cap. And that's excluding the initial wick, which is bonkers. So 100 mil. They've retraced back up to 65 mil. Forget what their market was beforehand, but I believe in general they're up overall, and the NFT price should kind of coincide because that's, you can cash NFT to get the token and therefore get the token, and there may be some arbitrage in there too as well, depending on how liquid both markets are. But
are they a minted out project?
Yeah,
they minted a long time ago.
They exist on both ETH and Solana, and now they're burned and not burned, and then of course you're exchanging them, so you're going to get all kinds of weird collection numbers. Utes is 15K. DGods, I'm not sure if they're 10K.
I was curious because like on OpenSea's activity, it shows like mints on there for DGods like a couple hours ago.
Oh,
that's why I was curious.
That might be the new one.
Could be them exchanging it.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'd say the timing is the timing's not the best, right? If you did this 3 months ago, it would have been a killer, I think. But now I think everything's just waiting.
Yeah, you're in this downtrend for meme coin and meme coin attention at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like remember when MFers did their airdrop?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that, but now you're locked into the meme coin instead of MFers still having the NFT.
Yeah, but there's definitely incentive for everyone to help kind of be the champion of the meme coin because they're all so heavily invested in its success, right? So I mean, there is that idea of meme coins, you know, they come and go so fleetingly, but you now have all these creators in community trying to push this meme coin. Maybe, I don't.
I mean, it's the same with NFTs, right? They're invested in NFTs. They have to push the NFTs.
Yeah,
but now you have a lot more holders.
I think a lot of people are buying the NFTs, specifically something like a DGod or a Ute, where they're such an identifiable PFP, meaning that, like, you know, because they're human-like, as a PFP, that you're likely selecting your Ute or DGod to represent you, and now you're taking that away. Like, it's not, for me, it's not why I, you know, bought a Ute. It's not why I would want to own the Ute. Is I want it for that art and that identification and that branding, etc. And now it's a meme coin. It just does not fit them. Now, if it was someone else, if it was something else, maybe it makes a lot more sense. It's hard for me in that respect. Where this goes and how this plays out, I don't know. To me, I feel like it's a form of exit liquidity for Frank. That's the hard take on it. But would I be surprised if it's all of a sudden 250 mil? Yeah, actually, I would. But it's not like it's not possible, right? Like to see DGod as a meme token even above 100 mil seems kind of crazy considering. But then again, meme tokens aren't anything anyways.
Right.
At least there were something before.
Yeah.
Right. It's wild. You get a lot of positive takes, probably people in timeline that has some kind of investment towards it. Yeah, I don't know. It's
almost like selling a dream, bro. It's like, if we can get everybody to buy our token, then all of our holders can make money on the token. It's like,
what is a DGod token? I didn't even know what DGod was in the first place. Now it's a DGod token. Like the memeability of it isn't there.
That's what I was gonna say. The memeability isn't there.
A Ute has more of a memeability to it than a DGod.
Yeah, Ute is like a meme, right? It's like you can meme that. What's a DGod's is like too serious.
Yeah, too serious.
Yeah, right.
And it's like it doesn't even like make sense. It's not even like, I mean, I guess.
But on the technical side, it looks good. I think the chart, at least.
The chart looks
like
good.
There's a breakout coming in.
Yeah, the chart does look like you are in this kind of like downtrend and then possible
the
breakout.
Classic meme coin downtrend line.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's tough, bro. I think it's like a last resort type deal. I don't know. It's something that would throw me off, like you said, you buy a project, you think it's this, and then next thing you know, they're like, hey, let's make a meme token.
But maybe that's maybe that's their holder base, right? Like, hey, like let's go for it. If it was like, if we want to circle back to like a community that maybe it makes sense. Maybe if Miladies did it made sense. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. I'd buy into that.
Right. And then the Milady token, like all that makes sense, I think. But because, like I said, because of the identifiability, etc., the features that they did have of like outstanding art, etc., it's kind of the opposite. But that I think younger crowd that might be loving Utes and DGods, maybe that they're just there for the vibes, and hey, now we're in the meme world, but like everyone already was, and now you're in this world that is downtrending most everywhere outside of the strongest memes, right? Maybe Mog should come out with their own NFT, right? And just really push the Mog token. I think that's even better.
Right.
Yeah. What are we looking at in terms of memes in general? Are you still pushing any specific memes, Danksy, or are you mostly Polymarket at this point, or?
I'm only in Dogecoin right now for memes.
Mm-hmm.
The OG meme, can't go wrong. Polymarket, I'm on the 25 basis point decrease, and that's most of my position right now.
Yep. And popular vote, right?
No popular vote. I'm gonna roll into that with my winnings on the interest rate.
Okay.
That's the plan. And the Super Bowl stuff.
Yeah, so that one's moved. Taking a look at the basis points here. I mean, yeah,
dude,
6% just seems
decrease. The 25% basis point decrease seems like a steal right now. Not
right?
a lot. You make 2.5x.
I mean, it was a steal back before when you're looking at it, and where was it? When the first got the 50 basis points, I even think 75 basis points got on there for a bit of time. That to me was just like, what the actual, like, it didn't make any sense. So like, yeah, you can see 28 cents at its low on the 25 basis points. And like that to me was just like, oh, that seems like a screaming move. and then it swung back up. We were up to 91 cents early September, and now we're way back down. Like, this is just crazy bit of volatility on it. But I think, if you go with the way the Fed has acted so far, I think the risk reward on the 25 basis points seems like a pretty solid move. You're looking at a 1.5x return on that.
No, it's 2.5.
Which is, well,
you pay 40 cents to make $1. You'd pay 40 cents to make 60 cents.
Yeah, but you get your money that you put in plus 1.5x. Right? So 100 gets you 250 back. So you make 150 in
150,
profit.
sorry. Math was wrong.
Yeah, that does seem like a pretty good,
right?
Definitely a good risk to reward there.
I think as far as making a 2x on something that was like such a foregone conclusion for a period of time is interesting. Now, 60% of everyone thinks it's going to go to be at 50 basis points. So, there's certainly some risk in that move. But Jerome Powell has just been so consistent, so conservative, so focused on the soft landing. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that there isn't, additional political factors at play beyond that. But the 50 basis points also signifies that there's some deep underlying concern within the economy, and that's why they're reacting sharply. But there's deep underlying concern on the economy and the inflation, and they never reacted sharply on that either. So we'll be curious to see. But I like that one a lot, and I also like that one a lot because we're going to get a conclusion on it within the next couple days here. Whereas a lot of these, like the NFL one, the lack of conclusion always makes it harder to place your funds. But interesting. 49ers, I think that one is what kind of comes out to be actually both. So 49ers and Chiefs are both down their starting running back. Chris McCaffrey has got this mysterious injury, tendonitis in the Achilles. Not a good spot to have tendonitis for an aging running back or an aging athlete in general. It's a type of injury that you lose your Achilles and it could spell the end of the career, especially for someone like him at his age. Not I say age, I mean I'm 10 years older than him, but definitely a risk concern. And they are a team with Super Bowl aspirations. They're going to take it super cautious and easy with him, especially when the backup has performed as well as they have. But it changed the dynamics of the potency of their offense, etc. Where I definitely would consider them maybe less of a clear favorite. The Chiefs just lost Pacheco. Pacheco wasn't necessarily a vaunted running back, but 68 weeks should be back during the season, at least as it stands right now. Their offense as well is improved over last year. I think the Chiefs just in general just get that much stronger overall. They did lose a running back, but I think, for me all along, it was the Chiefs as being kind of a clear favorite, given the fact that I think they're a better team and have already won 2 years in a row. Now, maybe there's some questions regarding Kelsey, et cetera, but Kelsey will step up and play like a monster when the time matters. And I'm sure they're not pushing him too hard along those same lines. Eagles look good in their first game. We got them playing again tonight. Eagles are such a Jekyll and Hyde team where like they look like the best team and they look like a team that could run the whole season undefeated, and then they go on this like 8-game losing streak at the same time. There are, and there's some kind of like locker room, dressing room kind of stuff that goes on with them that, they probably belong at number 3 here, given the fact that the Lions just lost and haven't looked like what they should look like. Bills look really good, even though they kind of lack offense, but Allen seems to just carry the team on his back. Maybe that's a bit of a risk factor because like he could go down and that team is completely toast. I like the Texans rounding out there. Ravens slid down quite a bit. Danksy, which ones did you get on 4 teams here? And
Yeah,
if
I
so,
think
which
I did
4
Chiefs,
teams?
49ers, Lions, and give me a second. Pull up the
And what
stats.
was that at? Like 12%?
I got Chiefs at 13, Niners at 11, Lions at 6, and Ravens at 8.
So your guys' play on
So-
these are typically to ride them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ride them to the playoffs, maybe still hold a couple. You know, the 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl seems very probable. And
Right.
of course, at that point, you're looking at like a 60-40 split at that point, right? And then you could,
More like 90-10 for 49ers.
maybe not likely. But I think those two are pretty solid. There's less risk with the 49ers in terms of like a sharp decrease due to injury because they are so well rounded, and Purdy being less of a vital piece to the Mahomes is, right. But certainly injury risk is going to exist with any of these, and that's going to be your biggest potential downside. Lions at 6% still, I think, are safe. They should be able to figure it out. They've always been a good second half team. Ravens, I still think they're a really good team. They took a tough beat. Are they 1-2 now at this point though?
I don't know. I heard that running backs weren't too important. Like you can just fit in any running back in most.
Yeah,
teams.
typically. McCaffrey's a special running back, stands out. There's 3 to 5 like really outstanding running backs that losing them can make a big difference. Although Breece Hall you would consider one, but the backup there might be even better than Breece Hall in some degrees. Sometimes running backs really don't matter. You need to have a running back, you need to have a running game, and you need to have someone that can provide baseline ability. But the Chiefs, their running game, their running back isn't a focal point. Eagles, Barkley brings an element they haven't had in a long time, so maybe it's important. Of course, McCaffrey, I think is special running back, receiver, all that kind of stuff. But they use Debo, they do all kinds of unique stuff. It's a lot of it comes down to coaching, and a lot of these teams that are going to do well this year, I think, are all coaching based. Cowboys at 4% is interesting. I don't know. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl, but that seems really low, given how well they've performed. Saints, I think, are really surprising at this point, being at 3%. I know they haven't faced the hardest teams, but they have looked so good so far.
They destroyed Dallas, right?
Yeah. And then even the Packers, also interesting, right? So I mean, Saints Packers, I think value bets, long shots. They're both kind of interesting. They've both been teams that have looked really good so far. Packers are without their starting quarterback, but still managed to perform well. Their defense has looked quite strong so far. But yeah, it's a fun one. I think this is a really good one. Chiefs still undervalued. 2-time repeat Super Bowl champion. There's never been a 3-peat, so you can argue against them winning the Super Bowl based on that in at least the modern Super Bowl era. But if something catastrophic is going to happen for them not to be deep into the playoffs, at which point your odds are going to continue to increase. So, in the terms of a long play bet, it seems like an easy way to basically plug some money down and let that accumulate as the season goes on. And then, whatever other side ones you want to go with. But that's the idea, is that once playoff hits, less teams are going to be available to win the Super Bowl. Right. So those odds are going to go down. And then, of course, the teams that get the first round buys, their odds are going to go up even more because they'll be into the next round, that sort of stuff. So you can continue to kind of play that. Arbitrage versus the betting market doesn't necessarily exist a lot, but the ability to sell out this, I think, is going to provide the value, right? So if you look at the betting market,
huge value play right there.
Exactly, is that the betting market's not going to give you the same degree of return on selling, right? They're gonna say, okay, yes, this team looks good, this bet looks good. we'll give you this amount, but like, for instance, I have a friend that had a parlay. Hit all the parlay. He's got 2 more to go tonight, but they was only going to pay him 50%. And he had hit, I don't know how deep that parlay was, but say you hit 6 out of 8, they're still only going to give you 50% because that last two on there, there's still that they're not going to give you the same degree of returns. Although this is going to go up, this is going to give you the returns a lot better because there's nothing to, you're just going to sell the odds straight across, right? So I think that's where Danksy looks at it as being a safe play to turn this from 60% up to 25,
35 plus,
35,
probably,
yeah.
30 plus, and then there's no vig as well. So if you can get in at a good price, that's a good price.
Bet yes, $100 returns 600 on the Chiefs to three-peat when they are only better than last year. Injuries obviously are going to be the biggest thing for any NFL team, I think, at this point.
And you'd bet for a yes or a no on that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're all, you're betting yeses on all of them. And you're probably picking 4 teams, I think is a smart way to do it the way Danksy's done it, 2 to 4 teams. If you want to go 5 or 6 teams and take a couple long shots, teams that'll look good early on, I don't think that's a terrible way to look at it. You could look at the way the divisions look as well. Saints, easier division, although, Tampa Bay's also looked good early on in the season. So they're, and there's some like clear have and have not teams where just like some teams understand offense and the way the NFL is working, and some teams just don't seem to get it. And it's the teams that understand it right now are going to continue to do well this year, I think. But it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to play crypto and NFL football, which those are the environments I live in.
Dual win, bro. Dual win.
Dual win.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Rhodes, you haven't bet on this. It's kind of the move. I mean, I would say Polymarket's better for sports betting than sports books.
So let's see. Okay, Eagles 70%. I think they were at 60% earlier tonight. Falcons. The game's just started?
Yeah, I think so.
5 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. Where was getting the chart up sometimes is always the tricky part. Does it have the chart? That's what I want to see. I want to see the move on that.
I don't think so.
Doesn't have a chart yet, hey? I thought it was 60. Like I was looking at this earlier in the afternoon and I thought it was 60. And I thought, man, the Eagles are way better than the 60. But maybe I was just dreaming some. But yeah, $100 to return 136.
If you highlight the average price, you can see basically the sports betting odds. If you highlight it.
Highlight it?
Like 70 cents when it's like blue. So it's like negative 233.
Yeah, I like the decimal odds. 142. You can do the math a lot easier with the decimal odds. It's $42. So obviously the game's going on. It's going to live adjust.
Right.
$42 isn't terrible. I wouldn't individual games. I don't know if I'm betting them. I do definitely like the Super Bowl champion. I think there's probably some other ones in terms of like betting your MVPs or your offensive player of the year, that kind of stuff may start to make some sense as thing goes on. So consider that as well. It's possible. Top QB, Josh Allen looks like a smash leader at the moment, the way he's playing. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover? Or are we good? I know we're 20 minutes into the other space there. That is probably got all the crypto people in there right now.
Yeah, I gotta go interview Trump.
Let's go.
Ask him about the rate cuts if he knows.
Let's go. Yeah, no, I wish I knew a little bit more about sports so I could yap a bit more about it, but unfortunately I don't. I'd probably be better off guessing than I would with a biased opinion, but no, it's interesting. I think overall my outlook on Polymarket, bro. I think Polymarket could become a enormous platform. I don't see too many like it. I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar. I wasn't too familiar with it before you guys brought it into brought it to our attention. But honestly, bro, I see this as a pretty big platform.
Yep.
Especially in the next, I think there's gonna be more to come that are similar like this as well.
And there are a couple other ones. There's like what Sunbet and
There's Kalshi and Polymarket, Sunbet maybe, but I think Polymarket has like 80% of the market share.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
80, 90%. What is it?
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah. Well,
Correct.
appreciate you guys. Elite Wealth Strategies. Best way to follow you guys is on Twitter, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Twitter in the link in the bio. We have our link tree. You can reach any link that we have. We have a podcast that drops every Wednesday, and then we do these pretty much every Monday with you guys. So appreciate that.
Unless some crazy stuff happens. Rhodes and I are from Bridge Tree Labs. We do a bunch of spaces now, probably like 3 or 4 each week. Monday, Wednesday, hopefully a Thursday one, and maybe a Friday one. But best way to find us is Twitter. We have a Telegram and Discord. Just make sure to follow us on Twitter for the updates. We post calls that we're pretty regularly on our Twitter and Discord, and that's kind of how we give back to the community. So appreciate you guys, Elite Wealth Strategies. Looking forward to next week actually, and hopefully Bitcoin's up and
Hopefully we'll see some sort of move. It's like at the same exact price as last Monday.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the repeating Monday conversation of Bitcoin at the same price.
Legit.
Well, appreciate you guys. Hopefully Donald Trump doesn't say anything crazy, but I'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Appreciate
Take
you
care,
guys as
everyone.
well. Have a
Peace
good
out,
rest
guys.
of the week. Let's
All right.
crush it.